Yes, we are Yeshua. Now, we would like to talk to those who consider themselves healers or light workers or anybody who is interested in being healed. The number one thing that you need to know when working with somebody or healing yourself is that you need to see the person or yourself as whole and complete, just as they are. That is what you need to hold in your mind. So, whatever you do from that point forward is of no matter. You can use any style, any technique that you want to from that point forward. Is just seeing everyone and everything as whole and complete as they are. And after that, of course, well, this is more a precursor, if you will. You need to, before you work on anyone else, see yourself as one with divine energy or source, if you will. We will keep with the verbiage that is being used in this channel. We will tell you that when you see those in front of you as whole, this means you see them as a beautiful source. You see them as divinity, not just in their physical vehicle, not that at all. What needs to come online, if you will, is their divine spark. When you see them as whole, and when you know yourself to be of source, then you have the ability to awaken their ability to see themselves as source. But if the only thing that you do is to see them as whole, that is perfect. That is all you need to do. And again, get as fancy as you want. Now, we will tell you that all source and all that is frequency. It is energy. So, if you were to use toys and gizmos and things to assist you in frequency raising, if you will, because that all is healing is once you are aware, once you really have the knowing that you are one with source, your frequency is raised automatically. Once you can remember the person standing in front of you is source and see them as whole in their earth suit, see them as complete, see them as perfectly divine, they will feel that. And especially if you are someone who is grounded and rooted in your own self, you do not need to be physically perfect to do this. You just need to be in remembrance of your source. So you can have things going on with you, but as long as you remember that you are source, that you are connected with all that is, and that everyone and everything around you is connected to all that is. So all the better if you can see them. Because if they are in your charge, if they are someone you are willing to heal, you don't have to make that giant leap. Unlike, say, for instance, of someone who you deem as an enemy in front of you, you might have a harder time seeing them as whole, and you might have to do some work, of course. But generally, most of the practitioners do not usually take on or take in those that they very much dislike. Now, we would wish that when you help others, that you can, no matter who or what they are and what they believe, that you are able to help them because, again, they are one with all that is, just as you. And that, my friends, that, my siblings, is all that is necessary, truly. However, we do understand while you are on the earth plane that there are livings to be made, as it were, that you do have to take care of your earth suit. You do require until you get to a certain place. However, you do require nurturants and nutrients and different substances on your planet while you are playing the game. So just think of yourself as the master of the game. You have already completed all the difficult levels, and you are able to help shepherd others through the levels. Now, again, all that you need. This is the number one tool, tip, trick, is to see them as whole, healthy being. That is it. That is all. All the others are frosting, as you would, or the cherry or the whipped cream on top, whichever suits your liking. So, this is the thing. If you want instructions, we would suggest things that are frequency. There are frequency generators out there for those of you who do not wish to be bothered by sound, and they are what you might term legit. Because again, you are working with frequency. There are things like tuning forks, singing bowls, and whatnot that will, of course, work with frequency. There are things like the rife machines. However, the thing with the rife and the things like with tuning forks and different things such as that, they require physical proximity. They require you having something on. For instance, if you have a generator going in your house, there's a certain distance where you can travel away from it and still feel its effects. You can, for instance, because quartz crystal, especially the clear quartz crystal, are very much frequency generators. So they can be put around your frequency generator, and then you can take it and move it to other places in your house. This is often why people love crystals and stones of such, because they do carry a certain vibratory frequency. Now, these are all just nice things to have because you are living on a physical plane, and part of why you are here is to have a physical experience. You need to have both. You need to be an example on the planet. So if you can, if you truly want to be a healer, if you truly want to be a light worker, as it were, you must lead by example. However, do not feel bad, do not feel down if you are not perfect. It is very challenging to hold a high frequency constantly. So do not feel as though the shame that many healers feel when they have a struggle. Some of these struggles have been pre programmed, if you will. Some of these struggles have been predestined. Some of your struggles, however, are when you are dipping and forgetting who you are. You might never know which it is. However, if you remember that your connection to source, that you are source, and you work on things such as expanding the source inside of you, sitting in stillness, there is a perfectly good, we believe Raphael did a thing to help initiate you, to help you with source. And of course, it is making the cross, which most of you associate with us. Now, this cross would be imagining light coming down through the crown of your head, down through the soles of your feet, out through the bottom, down all the way to the center of the earth and beyond. And that coming in through the top of your head is coming from way, way, way infinity beyond above you. And then you imagine at your right arm, about heart center height, a light coming all the way from infinite amount to the right, goes through all the way and it goes through and intersects that line that's coming from top and bottom, going through all the way through the left arm, all the way to infinity on the left. And then you breathe in that heart center area and you fill out these lines. You make them big, you make them fat, you make them filled up to capacity with your sourceness that you are breathing in, and that light brings in, and you breathe into it, and then you breathe into that center, and then eventually the lines fill out so big, and then that center fills out so big until you are just absolutely completely fill to capacity with source. And at that point in time, too, you can beam that out from the center of your chest to other people, to wherever you wish, to people you know, to people you don't know. That is one thing you can do when you do not have clients. You can just imagine sending it out. You can imagine everything. And then the other thing we would suggest is to think about when something comes up. So these are ways to work on things and deal with things. So when something comes up and you hear something and you get a pang of jealousy, or you wish you had something that someone else didn't had, or you didn't get picked, whatever the case may be, really take a moment and sit with that. Sit with it and feel, because you are connected to that person. So feel the joy, feel the love, feel the pride that you would feel if that was you, if that was your name being called, if you were the selected person. So you can feel that energy and really work on and work through by feeling absolute yes, I am so happy for you. And as well, being happy for yourself, because if one of you is able to do something, all of you are able to do something again, because you are connected with all that is. So there is no loss. And so little things like this will strengthen your ability to be a healer and also heal others. So, for instance, if someone in your family or someone you worked with, like again, if you feel like you've been passed over, or there's something oftentimes on your plane when someone who is an elder passes along and leaves their physical suit, often there are spats and resentments when things are left to one person more than another person. So again, this would be a perfect time when you feel resentment, when you feel jealousy, when you feel anything less than wonderful joy about anything, working on sending love to that person, to you, remembering your connection. Because instead of saying they got my stuff, everybody has everybody's stuff. You are all connected. There is an infinite amount of abundance out there. There is an infinite amount of everything. When you do not see stuff, when you do not see health, when you do not see abundance as limited, this is how you heal all sorts of issues. You have to work this yourself. But again, when you are working with a client, what you need to see them as whole. In the meanwhile, these types of practices, these types of things, and it can be anything. It can be when you feel anger at a person, when you are not happy with what is going on, say, in the government or in a political way, find some way to imagine, to forgive, to really take in the fact that you are divine. And you can ask too things like, show me the source in this, show me the divine in this, and really let yourself use anything that comes up, anything that's less than a beautiful, wonderful feeling. These are all ways to work through it. And as you work through it yourself, your energy will radiate off of you. The more source that can come through, because every little resentment, every little thing like that helps block. It helps you forget, because when you have your energy and you're focused so lowly vibrating, it does not matter. It is not a judgment. Fear, anger, all those things, it's not a judgment. It is just a lower frequency. You vibrate higher, you are higher frequency, so you are able to take in more source when you are vibrating at a higher frequency. And then you can be that healer that you wish to be. Then you can be that light worker. However, it takes more than just a healthy suit. It takes that energy flowing through you. However, we do wish you to know that when your suit is functioning at max capacity, it is also much easier to raise your frequency because we understand that the fact when you are hurting or you are ill or whatever is going on, there is often a loop, if you will, of lowering energy. You something hurts, you lower your energy because you're stuck in worry. Because often when someone is ill or injured, they go into this cycle of worrying, which is fear. And of course, fear lowers your energy. You have had many channelings about fear. So, really focusing on wholeness, really focusing on divinity or source, whichever you prefer. And that is where the magic is, if you will. That is where you can manifest, where you can help others manifest, is again by going in and making sure and cleaning up. It is just as important as brushing teeth, flossing, getting proper sleep, all those things. Those, of course, are wonderful things for your suit. However, no matter how well you take, no matter how good you feed, no matter all the luxuries you might have, if you emotionally feel awful, your frequency will be plummeting. And we will tell you, there is not a single one of you, not a single one of you who is broken. There is not a physical or mental illness out there that is beyond. There's nothing to do but raise your frequency first. You see people as whole, then they can make decisions for their suits once they are viewed as whole because they will feel your energy, they will feel your thoughts. We love you and we will be back again soon. Thank you.